In the end, there is only one asset that has done it. And not only has it done it, but it's absolutely kills the central bank balance sheet and outperformed every other asset on Earth. In fact, it's the greatest performing asset in all recorded history, which is Bitcoin. And what is interesting about Bitcoin right now, what makes it the world's greatest trade, is in a scenario where we have this insolvencies, and we as market participants are looking for how do we protect ourselves or how do we make money out of it. As I said, there's ways of making money out of it. But I look for when you've got economic dislocations, if you're in the biggest economic event in your lifetime, you want the big home run, because that is what sets up here. The big home run is Bitcoin because of what we've talked about, how good it is. It is the only asset with a fixed supply on Earth. But we've got massively rising demand. We've seen these corporate treasurers buying Bitcoin. What we've also got is we're getting the chance to legally front run probably the largest flow of funds into an asset of our lifetimes, because we know that they're going to launch a Bitcoin ETF. Well, that gives every RIA the opportunity to buy Bitcoin for their clients. So that brings the herd. We also know that the banks have been given the green light to custody Bitcoin, which is code word for prime broking for hedge funds. So they're all building prime brokerage operations for hedge funds, which means the hedge funds are coming. We also know that Fidelity and a bunch of others have set up custody for family offices and pension funds and endowments, and they're coming too. And what's interesting about those guys, Bitcoin is currently a $200 billion market cap. But if it goes up 5x from here, which I think is pretty easy, even by like next summer or even earlier, well, then you've got $1 trillion market cap. At $1 trillion market cap, you don't have a choice but to buy some. And what's great is when you put it into portfolio models, it actually is a great diversifier of returns. So it makes it even more important for people to do it. So it's like the whole market is short upside in Bitcoin, and their probability of buying more of it as it goes up increases. So you get to the Soros-style reflexive loop that's setting up here. And the kindling is set. The kindling is the insolvency. And then when you look at come down to the simple thing of the chart pattern, it is one of the greatest wedge patterns I've ever seen. And I love charts. Bitcoin on a monthly basis is a phenomenal looking chart. You can also look at it into a log chart too. And that looks phenomenal. And I don't know if any of you are Twitter users, but there's a guy called Plan B. He's a Dutch guy who is a kind of econometrics expert, and he built something called a stock to flow model, which is how much new supply of Bitcoin is coming into the world versus its current stock. Now, there's only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin, and about 18 million of them or so have already been mined. So there's not many to come. So it becomes an increasingly scarce asset. And using his model, which is very clever and far too clever for me to even replicate, he basically says in this cycle, after we've just halved the supply of Bitcoin as part of the algorithm that is Bitcoin, the chances are it goes to 250,000 in the next 18 months. So that's a 25x opportunity that fits the macro narrative. It helps us balance out the risks of our purchasing power of our savings and gives us the potential home run. So that's, I think, the world's best opportunity and how to play the insolvency.